my name's Tristan Overcashier and I'm a volunteer attorney here at Bay Area Legal Services. And the next issue we're going to be speaking about is FEMA and the type of aid that they can provide for a client that you may get after a disaster. FEMA, or the Federal Emergency Management Agency, is an organization that was created under the Department of Homeland Security. And their job is to provide assistance to not only specific citizens who are affected by disasters, but to state and local governments. And you'll want to keep in mind that FEMA is not intended to make a citizen whole after a disaster. They're simply there to provide aid and pick up where something is left off. For instance, if an insurance payment doesn't cover a certain thing, or an insurance carrier doesn't provide for certain types of coverage such as cost of living or relocation fees, that's where FEMA will come in and potentially provide some additional support and some additional aid for your client. It's important to note that FEMA aid is not going to be triggered in every single type of disaster. You will need some sort of presidential declaration. You'll also need a very large event. Hurricane Irma was certainly an event that triggered FEMA aid and was one that was declared an emergency by the president, and this allowed people to tap into those FEMA funds. Typically, you'll find a client and they'll either have applied for FEMA aid and have been denied, or they'll feel that they're entitled to perhaps more FEMA aid. And even if they've been denied, there is still the avenue to appeal the decision. And Bay Area Legal Services has actually put together a great manual for appealing a FEMA determination if they've denied any type of coverage. To be eligible for FEMA aid, at least one person in the household has to be a US citizen. You need that presidential declaration, and you're also going to need to have the damages caused by whatever the event that triggered this disaster declaration was. Keep in mind that FEMA aid is not only for homeowners, but it is also for tenants. So if people have lost the home which they're renting, or they've had property damage from their rental property, they still are entitled to apply for FEMA benefits. Some of the types of benefits that FEMA does provide are housing, relocation, food, payments for funeral or medical expenses. So there's a really wide variety of aid that FEMA provides that you can apply for and you can try to seek for your client. Keep in mind that FEMA is only going to cover and provide aid beyond what is not covered by insurance. So you're going to have to identify, did my client have insurance, any property insurance, any rental insurance? How much was paid out for these claims? Was there a denial issued? If there was a denial issued, this is a great tool to have, or a great document to have, to support requesting additional FEMA aid. Typically, the maximum amount that FEMA will pay out per individual in a storm or disaster is $34,000, which is typically nowhere near enough to make someone whole. So you are going to have to pursue other avenues of aid for your client if they're completely relying on FEMA. Please also note that if you're dealing with flood insurance, there is no allowance for cost of living or relocation fees. So definitely pursue the FEMA route and try to get your client some aid if this is a flood event and they're not being paid for any of those costs.